And we're back. This is Hook and Ladder. This is what, week 5 we're on now?
Yep.
Good Lord, it's flying by. We'll get started. Friday night's matchup between Florida State and Virginia. No one really saw this one coming, but Virginia knocked off Florida State 46-38 in 2 OT.
So I watched this game. I wanted to see why Florida State was only favored by 6.5 points. Going on the road, Friday night game, obviously difficult, situation. We've seen over the years a lot of teams, favorite teams lose in those Thursday night, Friday night games on the road. But I was kind of wondering, I know Virginia was, I think, undefeated, but I haven't seen Virginia this year. So I wanted to see, and it was a good game. Virginia jumped out to an early lead, then a couple picks. Florida State jumps back into the lead, 21-14, and kind of like settled in the second half, and later in the game, there's kind of traded touchdowns. But a couple takeaways that I came from, got out of this game. Virginia's a pretty good football team. Their offense was playing with a lot of confidence. Quarterback just kind of, he was like doing a little sidearm, kind of flinging it, like just super confident. QB throwing the football, running the football. He ran in a couple of touchdowns. They were doing like 16, 17 play drives on Florida State, just running the football right at them. And Florida State could not stop it. There was multiple times where defensive linemen would break through the line of scrimmage and then whiff in the backfield. And then it would be like a 7-yard gain. Yeah. Castellanos didn't look that good to me. He's getting run a little bit, but there's some kind of plays he'll just get back in the pocket and kind of happy feet and try to run, and then it's like a tackle for minimal gain, or he just kind of sits in that pocket and throws off his back foot, which he did for the touchdown throw, which tied the game up. But then a couple of throws there at that last possession, he's just kind of throwing it up off balance. He just didn't look that good. And seeing the way Virginia was supposed to run on them, or that Virginia ran on them, I'm thinking Alabama couldn't run on Florida State. Yeah. And Alabama got beat by Florida State. Florida State really good. I was like, Florida State doesn't look all that good to me. So then I kind of knew, like, Alabama's going to play like they're the New England Patriots, the next day, which they did. Yeah. But we'll get to that in a second. But it's kind of like got me thinking about that watching this game.
That's right.
And I went to bed afterwards because we had to get up early to go to the game, so I didn't see any of the other games.
Yeah. Well, TCU, 24th ranked team in the country, lost to Arizona State 27-24, and
Arizona State needed that.
Yeah.
They needed that win. What is it? Houston, Oregon State into OT. So Connor Wegman threw for 270. Houston needed that win as well after losing to Texas Tech. They needed to get that win in conference.
Yeah. Well, a lot of really good games over the weekend.
They were. And unfortunately, I didn't get to watch a lot of them because we were at a game. Yeah. But watch some of the early games. Watch a little bit of the 3:30 kicks.
Number 1 Ohio State knocked off Washington 24-6.
I watched a little bit of this morning because I wanted to see it. Ohio State, number 1 team in the country, probably between them and Miami, probably by now in the season the more complete team. Going into hostile territory, Washington is not the greatest team right now, but it is a tough place to play. It was a little sluggish in the first half. Saying only went for 200. Yeah. Didn't look spectacular, but they got it done. 24-6, very good defensive effort. Just kind of you don't have to win 48-0 every game.
That's
you
right.
Go on the road. Conference matchup in a tough place to play. You're not always going to blow them out. You get that hard-fought win that you kind of like get over the sluggishness and get a couple scores. So it was a big win for Ohio State.
That's right. Oregon knocked off Penn State 30-24 in a double overtime thriller.
In the second game of the week that everybody could see coming. All right, this was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Never in a million years did I expect Penn State to win this game. You guys, if you've been watching us for any length of time, you know how much I think Penn State, and I don't hate Penn State, but to me they're the biggest pretender in all of college football, right? They are a very good football team, an excellent program with an excellent history and tradition, but they're a 10-2 team at best. Yeah. They will lose to the 2 best teams they play every season. Yes. They cannot get over the hump. They really couldn't do it last year, but they somehow snuck into the playoffs. They won a game against Boise State, and then lost to Notre Dame. But this is a good game. Penn State kind of came out first half looking good. They had they forced a turnover But it was back and forth, and went to OT, and they just couldn't get it done. Drew Aller with a ill-advised throw, pick, ends the game. White out at Happy Valley, one of the most intimidating places to play when they do that white out at night, and they still couldn't get it done.
That's right. Moving right
Trent Oregon, though.
Yeah.
Going in there and getting it done.
Yeah.
Dante Moore looked good through for 250.
On the road.
Yep.
Doing work. Moving right along. Ole Miss knocked off LSU 24-19.
Every year I'm like, I pick so I picked LSU to win this game. I just don't give Lane Kiffin credit because he's always shit the bed in big games.
Right.
They found a way to win this one, and from a little bit of the highlights I watched, he was taking some chances, and LSU's offense has been kind of a struggle. They've struggled to run the football. I'm really looking forward to going home and watching the press conference. I want to see what they ask him about running the football. The defense is good, but the offense is a work in progress, and Ole Miss took advantage. Mm-hmm. And Trinidad threw for 300 plus yards. He looks really good. Ole Miss should have lost to Arkansas.
That's right.
But they could be one of those sneaky good teams.
Yep. Moving right along to the other game of the week, Alabama knocked off Georgia 24-21. We were there. What can we say about this?
The game number 2 of the week that I kind of saw coming. I don't think Georgia can beat Alabama. So Georgia's beaten Tennessee 9 years in a row. Mm-hmm. That's an every year game. So I guess to what Georgia is to Tennessee, Alabama is to Georgia. So Georgia, and it is before Kirby Smart, all right, because they don't play all the time.
Right.
They're 1-10. In their last 11 games, they're 1-10. Now some of those, like a handful of those, go back to Coach Ritt. Mm-hmm. But Kirby Smart's won one game. Now, that was a big one. That was a national championship game that they beat Alabama, and they beat them fairly handily that second half. Yeah. I mean, they ran up and down on them and pushed Alabama's defensive front around, and especially that fourth quarter, that 2021 championship game.
Well, that Georgia team was clearly better than Alabama.
Yes, and I kind of felt like last night, just looking at the athletes, I thought Georgia defensively, they looked like garbage in the first half of the game, but they had better looking athletes on the field. Second half, what was it, 24-14?
Going into
halftime. Alabama didn't score a point the second half, and they were 13 of 19 on third downs, and only, I think, 1 third down conversion in the entire second half.
So they corrected the problems they had in the first half, but ultimately that was enough to lose the game.
Yes, now...
What are some other things that happened?
I think Alabama has Georgia's number. And
it's more of a mental thing than anything.
It is, and we'll get to the fourth down call here in a second. But if you had told me Ty Simpson will only throw for like 260, a couple touchdowns, and Alabama will only have 24 points in the game, and they will rush for under 100 yards, I would say Georgia won the football game.
Yeah.
They rushed. They couldn't run the football at all. Lucky for them, they would just nickel and diamond Georgia to death in that first half. I don't think they had a single explosive play of like 20 yards. They dropped an easy like 40-yard touchdown bomb. So the Georgia at the end of the game would have won the game. Drops a touchdown right at like the 2-yard line. The kid drops it wide open. Guys, he beat his man by 15 yards and he drops it. But I would have thought if you told me those, and Georgia ran for I think 230, something like that. Chauncey Bowens, 12 carries, 118 yards and a touchdown. I would have said, all right, you give me those stats. You show me those stats and that score, Georgia's won the game. But credit to Alabama's defense. They were getting gashed on the ground. But I know Gunnar Stockton didn't throw for, 130, but he made some throws, like second half, when they needed to drive. He hit Zachariah Branch for a 22-yard gain on 3rd and 11. Yeah. There was a couple of penalties. There was that fumble that ended up being the difference of the game. Yeah. There was the drop touchdown pass. And then there was the fourth down call. I think it was 2 minutes and 30-something seconds. 4th and 1. They didn't measure. They went on a hurry up. Now, I feel if they slowed it down, he might have had the first down. The refs would have looked at it. They went on a 4th and 1. Didn't like the play call as tempo. I don't mind going for it. Kirby Smart was like, 10 out of 10 times I'm going to go for it. But he's like, maybe not tempo. Whenever Georgia runs tempo in short yardage situations, they get stuffed. And they got stuffed yesterday with the wrong guy in the backfield. You got Chauncey Bowens, who's had a huge game thus far, and you put in the 5'10", 180-pound scat back walk-on, he can make some plays. He's got some touchdowns. But I feel that he's in there in situations where I don't think he needs to be in the game. It's somebody more athletic in that game that maybe has the strength to kind of like get out of an arm tackle and get the 1 yard for the first down. It wasn't like the defensive lineman really got a hold of him. He kind of reached his arm out there and tripped him up.
He got lucky. They hurried up. They thought they were going to get cute. And it ended up costing them the game.
Yep, and they should have kicked the field goal to tie it up under a little over 2 minutes left. If they can get to overtime, you never know what happens.
9 times out of 10, he kicks the field goal there.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. The monkey is on your back because you can't beat Alabama.
Right.
So you're trying to pull out all the stops to make it happen. Mm-hmm. Playing to win, not kicking the field goal, which is like playing to like lose, play it safe. Yeah. They were risking to win the game, and I don't dislike the call. I dislike the tempo, and I dislike the personnel.
Somebody should have said, hey, let's see if we can't review this play.
Yes.
Because I thought he got it himself.
I did too, but they ran tempo too quick.
Yeah.
And the referees really didn't have any time to take a look at it in the booth. But I ultimately felt that drop touchdown pass
that was the killer.
That was in the third quarter, I believe.
No, that was like
that was
like 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter or something.
Yeah.
There might be a little more time on the clock, but it was...
Yeah, I mean, he was wide open on the 1 or 2 yard line and just dropped it. And he's a true freshman player. You can't have that. You can't have that happen in these kind of games and expect to win. So, been talking a little bit about this game because we were there a little bit longer than we normally do, but I felt Georgia played well enough to win the game. Both teams deserved to win, in my opinion, but Georgia just couldn't make the plays late offensively to get it done.
And they dug themselves a hole early. They dug themselves a hole early. They didn't have to dig themselves in. And you can start. I saw something posted. I think Melissa Webb posted like was it a third and Schumann?
Third and Schumann, yeah. I mean
the
first half, I think they were like 12 of 12 on third down.
It's getting to be every single game. They start out in the first quarter and a half. The other team is like world beaters. First three drives, they just march down the field on third down, convert. I'm sick of seeing it.
And then like Georgia just figures it out defensively. And then they're good from there. Yeah. But you can't do that against top teams like this. Everyone's like, they lost to Florida State. Alabama's not good. Alabama couldn't run the football. Yeah. Like I said a minute ago, they still won the game. Yeah. And they look bad running the football.
And what the bad thing about for Georgia is there's a chance that they have to see Alabama 2 more times for the year's over with.
But I mean, I think people were writing Alabama off. I mean, Josh Pate, one of my favorite personalities, picked them to win a national championship. They still have really, really good players. They lose a game. There's some things that look a little concerning in that game. Everyone's like, fire DeBoer. He got women talking about winning the Powerball in Alabama. Saying, well, first thing I'm going to do is pay off DeBoer and fire his ass, But I think Kirby's got this monkey on his back, and it's getting
bigger.
It is, and I think with the last handful of times they've played, these games have all been close. Mm-hmm. You had the Natty. You had the national championship 2 years ago. I mean, the SEC championship 2 years ago. You had the game last year, this game. These aren't blowouts. These are close games that they just can't find a way to win.
But it's the same story. Alabama jumps out to a big lead, and then they have to overcome that big lead, and then they just run out of time to win the game. Yep. So moving right along, we can talk about this game all day long. Yeah. But whatever. Texas A&M knocked off Auburn 16-10.
Didn't see any of this game. I do know, just kind of watching some highlights, it was a little sluggish, hard back and forth game where neither offense really could do anything. Auburn's lost 2 in a row now. They had to go on the road twice to really good opponents, and they have a bye next week. This Saturday's a bye, and they're at home against Georgia, and that's a game that they've circled on their calendar.
They want it. They need it. Moving right along. Indiana knocked off Iowa 20-15. Indiana keeps winning.
Sadly, I hate Indiana. We talked about this before. I can't stand them. I want them to lose. Iowa's not good. So Indiana got it done 20-15. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. It is.
Iowa State knocked off Arizona 39-14.
Iowa State just a good, solid program. Yeah. Last 7 or 8 years, they're just a good, solid program.
Yeah. Speaking of another good game this weekend, Tennessee knocked off Mississippi State 41-34.
Tennessee, man, defensively, they got to get some things figured out. Yeah. I mean, because that's a game, they won last week, and then they lost to Georgia in overtime the week prior to that, and then again they go to overtime this game. They can put up points.
That's it.
Nobody's denying that. I think second time in 3 games, and they've scored 41. Yeah. Their defense needs help.
Yeah.
Their defense needs help. I don't think there's any planet Mississippi State should be scoring 34 points on you if you're Tennessee, but it happened. Yeah. Mississippi State looks like a solid football team.
They are.
Their record really doesn't reflect it too much, but they're not a bad football team at all.
That's right. Moving right along. Georgia Tech knocked off Wake Forest 30-29.
OT. I thought Wake Forest had this one in the bag.
I did too.
For a little while, but man, you got to give credit to Georgia Tech. They keep fighting Haynes King. The Haynes King goes, and that's the way Georgia Tech goes.
So goes Georgia Tech.
That's him. They've got nobody else on their offensive roster that you're afraid of that can hurt you. They can get guys that catch the ball. They got guys that can run the football. Yeah. But Haynes King is the guy.
That's right. How about Vanderbilt? They knocked off Utah State 55-35. They're quietly a good football team.
They're a really good-looking football team.
Yeah.
They just win consistently. Like the way they do it week to week is consistent. They are physical. Mm-hmm. They're putting up points, and I'm wondering how this is going to go when Diego Pavia, leaves the program, because he's kind of like their version of Haynes King. How he goes is so goes the team.
That's right.
But they look good. Fun to watch.
That's right. Missouri knocked off UMass 42-6. Missouri keeps on winning.
Missouri's got two of my favorite players, Ahmad Hardy and then Bo Prabula. Uh-huh. Two guys that are just so much fun to watch. Look, if you're watching this, I'm fairly certain you probably don't really watch too much Missouri. Okay, but watch them. Prabula and Ahmad Hardy are fun to watch.
They're going to ruin somebody's season. Yep. Illinois knocked off USC 34-32.
Didn't see this coming. They got smoked the week prior by Indiana. Illinois did. Mm-hmm. And they're going home, and they're wounded animal mode. They got a lot of pride. They're embarrassed on national TV by getting a 60 burger thrown at you. But USC can throw the football around the field. QB, I can't pronounce his last name either. Miava. Mm-hmm. He throw the football around. What did he throw for this one? For 364 in this game. I thought Illinois would be ready to play, but USC's offensive capabilities would just be too much for them.
That's right.
And Illinois, credit them, they found a way to win and kind of salvaged so far their season. That's a conference game against a ranked opponent. So good for them. And USC, man, they're down bad. I mean, I don't see how anyone's going to call this a successful season, but I kind of feel this was like that transition year that really not many people expected them. With the recruiting class and what they're doing in NIL right now, next year is going to be that big year for them.
Hopefully. Notre Dame knocked off Arkansas 56-13. Sam Pittman is now unemployed.
Got fired today. We watched this game at the tailgate, and I kind of felt bad for Arkansas because they're two games. I felt they should have easily won the football game if their running backs or the wideout, the running back, held on to a football at the end of the game, going in for the win. One of them was inside the 10, I believe, maybe even inside the 5, with like under a minute left. Just kick the field goal. Mm-hmm. You're down by 1, kick the field goal, win by 2. Yeah. Instead, he tries to get extra yards, puts the ball out, fumble, game over. Memphis wins, right?
Yeah. Well, what a scheduling
it's a real tough go for them with the schedule. But, Notre Dame looked good, and Arkansas, in the beginning of the game, they kind of was like trading blows a little bit. He's getting off the field, and Notre Dame was kept, every time they get the football, touchdown. You'd think, 3rd and 8, if they get off the field here, they'd convert. A few plays later, touchdown Notre Dame. And you just kind of saw it coming, where everyone was, the players looked like, the coaches looked like, okay, forget this, let's just get out of here. And they got smoked at home. Yeah,
the writing was on the wall. Well, Bobby Petrino is now the interim head coach.
Mm-hmm.
The world is a crazy place, but sometimes it just kind of seems right, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, moving right along. BYU knocked off Colorado 24-21.
I'm happy about this. I don't like Colorado.
Yeah.
I have nothing against Dion. I have nothing against Colorado. There's a couple of guys on that team that are on the current roster I just don't like. Don't want to pull for, so I'm happy BYU won the game.
Yeah. Well, that's your top 25. Any other game from this week you'd like to talk about?
Nothing that I can really recall.
It was very top-heavy this week. There was a lot of really good games.
UCLA lost another one to Northwestern. Yeah. Nico threw for 180. He looks like absolute dog shit, and you know what? Couldn't happen to a better person. I'm sorry. That whole situation with Tennessee was ridiculous. He wasn't that good of a quarterback, and I think somebody in his camp should have just been like, no, you're not that good.
Well, probably somebody in this camp was trying to line their pockets and they ended up screwing that kid really good. Well, let's see matchups next Friday night. We've got BYU taking on West Virginia. That could be quite a good game.
Yep, 10:30 night. So I'll probably stay up for at least half that game.
Yeah. Okay, right along. Kentucky is going to be in Athens next Saturday for a noon kick. You can get a ticket for $146.
So Georgia drops to number 12th in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Don't see any issue with that. I know Georgia. Look, we're in a different era. The NIL and the portal era. There's parity all along college football. I've said it before, like every week. The SEC is extremely good and extremely deep this year, and it has a lot to do with the portal and NIL. There are guys that were on Georgia's team last year that are having very good seasons with other SEC teams because they just couldn't get on the field in Athens. They go to a place like Mississippi State, and they're having a great season. Yeah. Same thing with the guy that couldn't get on the field last year for Georgia, who's now at Purdue and is having an amazing season. That being said, I still think they're a good team. They're not elite, like I just mentioned, but really none of them are. Mm-hmm. Texas has lost and hasn't looked good. Alabama's lost a game and it hasn't looked, looks better, especially after last night. But I wonder how much Alabama they have Georgia's number versus how good they are. Yeah. I expect them to struggle down the road, especially against teams like LSU that have a better defense. Auburn should give them some problems. But I still think Georgia's a good football team. That's two games in a row now. They've gotten down and fought back. They won the game on the road at Tennessee, and they were in position to win last night. So I like the way that they don't give up. They keep fighting. I didn't really have too much issue with play calls yesterday. It was much as it was personnel. But they've got to get some things, I don't want to say fixed offensively, but be more consistent. There's weapons there. Yeah. They've got weapons. Colby Young was a beast yesterday. It looks like they found a running back after benching the dude that fumbled. Looks like they found themselves a good running back. Kentucky's not the greatest football team, but they can move the football on the ground. But that's kind of Georgia's strong. So if they get that defense figured out, I think they could be all right going forward. Season's not over with a loss. No. All right? You still have opportunities against ranked teams to win games and get the strength of skill. I mean, their strength of skill is ridiculous. Yeah. So they need to get to right the ship and win against Kentucky.
That's right. Let's see what else we got going on. We've got Michigan at Wisconsin.
Wisconsin at Michigan.
Excuse me, it's a noon kick.
Wisconsin's bad. Michigan should handle them pretty easily.
You got a Clemson North Carolina matchup as well.
Go Bill Belichick.
Illinois at Purdue.
Yep.
Let's see what else we got going on. Texas and Florida. This is a 3:30 kick.
3:30 kick. Texas goes to the Swamp. This is a game they need. Mm-hmm. Florida needs this win. I think. I don't know how true this is, but I'm going to come out and say anyway. Florida wins this game, and Billy Napier's this year saved. I think their schedule's brutal.
It's terrible.
But they need to win this game. Florida's got a damn good defense. Everyone's talking about, they can't score. They throw picks every 5 seconds. Yeah, but Florida's defense is good.
That's right.
I mean, they held Miami, and Miami is juggernaut offensively. So that's going to be the game of the week, in my opinion, to watch there.
We'll see. Vanderbilt's going to be in Alabama.
Alabama looking to
avenge that loss.
Avenge it from last year. Vanderbilt's no pushover. No. All right. So that'll be an interesting game to watch as well. Another 3:30 kick on ABC. I expect Alabama to win this game. I expect Alabama to struggle a couple of times going the rest of the way, but I still expect them to maybe lose only one game, if any at all. I expect them to be in the SEC championship and in the playoffs, because I think they're going to use that Georgia game as a springboard because they look good. Ty Simpson looked real good.
What else we got going on here?
There was one game up. Go back right under the Alabama. Boise State's at Notre Dame. It's kind of a neat schedule.
It could be a matchup. It could be an interesting matchup.
Virginia at Louisville. Virginia's ranked now 24th in the country after beating Florida State. Syracuse at SMU.
Yeah, Syracuse coming off a
Michigan
loss.
State at Nebraska. Yeah. Is Nebraska going to have a successful season? Survey says probably not. Michigan State's not great, but Nebraska should be beating them.
You got Texas Tech at Houston.
Minnesota at Ohio State.
Here's the big one right here.
Ohio State's really, not trying to say anything negative, but this year in the Big Ten, Oregon's good, Penn State's okay, Michigan's okay, but it's basically Oregon. I'm not even going to mention Indiana. It's basically Oregon and Ohio State, and I I think they play, but I don't know when. I'm not 100% sure. But, they don't have to play quality opponents week after week.
Yeah.
So they should handle business easily at home against Minnesota.
That's right.
And yeah, you got Miami at Florida State. Miami, I think, was on a bye yesterday, right?
Yeah, they were on a bye.
And Florida State
took
lost.
the L Friday night.
It's in Tallahassee.
Ooh.
For $360, basically, you can get a ticket to that game. Tallahassee's not too far from here.
No.
That's going to be a good game.
It is.
That's going to be a really good game. I expect Carson Beck, his experience, I expect Carson Beck to, win the day for Miami in this game. I'm predicting Miami wins this game.
I expect him to win as well. You got Mississippi State versus Texas A&M. So yeah, that's 7:30 kick.
I think the only way Florida State can win that game is if the defense plays excellent and they use Castellanos' legs a whole lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, like they run him, design QB runs maybe 10 to 12 times.
Yeah. The kid's a weapon. They need to start using him like one. All right. I guess that's really it. You got the 10:30 late game and the Nevada Fresno State game. But other than that, that's about it for the
We're at week 6. I think this is usually, except the SEC. The SEC is just going to be a meat grinder.
Yeah.
But this is the time of the year, week 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 is when some of the teams, the cream starts to rise to the top. These teams start separating themselves from the pack. The early season rust is off. The coaches know what they've got with their team. They know what players they can count on. They're not just trying to get in young guys in the first couple games against cupcakes. This is where the cream rises to the top and teams start separating themselves.
Yeah, we start finding out what teams are, find out who everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that includes this week's set of games, and we'll try it again next week.
That's it.